Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. I'm going to take a quick look at Sandbox here with you, help you understand a little bit more about what's going on and just how awesome this is actually based on what happened recently. I'll explain more about that. If you're new to the channel though, not a financial advisor, just love teaching people how to trade. This is my day job. I do this every day for a living and I've been trading for over 15 years. So in that sense, I created this whole YouTube channel to ensure that I can help people become better traders. So I've got a trading community as well as a trading academy where I actually teach you how to become a better trader step by step with a series of videos. And of course, I send out signals for every trade that I take so you can learn how to structure your trades effectively. You should always have 3 profit targets and no less than 1 stop loss. Again, those are things I cover. Feel free to check that out in your own time, but let's go and see what we can figure out here for Sandbox. Now, these coins are doing awesome right now. I just covered Mana, and Mana is doing very well as well, of course. They have both very similar patterns. And the great thing is that we had a strong red day forming yesterday, and it ended with a hammer up. And basically just means that we have a candlestick that's telling us that it wants to continue to progress upwards. Once again, based on Bitcoin kind of recovering. Now, granted, these coins wouldn't be doing as well if Bitcoin hadn't jumped back from 43,000 to 44,000, but on the same accord, it still recovered very well, much better than most other coins. So I just like to kind of throw that out there so you understand that these type of coins right now are meta, for lack of better terms. Meta is meta, and I think that these are going to start doing very well here in the near future. Obviously, they're doing well already, but they're going to continue to do well based on the fact that they're kind of, I wouldn't say moving contrary to Bitcoin, because obviously most things went up recently, but they recovered very well, much better than most other coins. Again, just throwing it out there. Here's a really cool thing here, and this is not a guarantee, of course, because I've already mentioned this before. When you're up over the 50-day set moving average on the 1-day chart, it's a very good sign, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the candlesticks have closed. Yes, the one from yesterday closed above, but today still has yet to, right? You want to have a few days worth of consolidation above a major so moving average, so to speak, in order to kind of confirm that, right? So again, that's premature for lack of better terms, but I do think ultimately that's helpful to have that there, because that kind of coalesces with $4.65, which is essentially a key level Fibonacci retracement line, right? So that's extremely important to be above that. I think that's helpful. We're also above 50 and below 70 on the RSI, implying that we are not overbought, but also more bullish, right? Anything over 50, in my personal opinion, on the 1-day chart is a very good sign on average. We had a MACD convergence a while ago. We can obviously see that. If we look at TD sequential, we're up to a 5. What is it? Mana is effectively the same exact scenario. We went up to it. Well, okay, not exactly, because Mana came up to a 9 and reset and came back up to a 5. We went up to a 7, reset down to a 3, and came back up to a 5. So technically, Sandbox did dip a little harder than Mana did, but it's still a strong recovery and still holding very nice for this hammer up from yesterday's candle. So all in all, good stuff here from Sandbox. I literally see nothing here I do not like. We've got roughly 4 more days of continuation of the upside as a likelihood. Now, it could consolidate closer to support here at 465. I would like to see that based on the simple fact that this was a strong candle, a very large candle. And if you think about it, in 4 hours, we jumped up 10%. When you have that kind of increase, it's usually followed by a slight retracement, which is very healthy. I like the fact that this is happening here. And what would be nice is for it to consolidate here for a little while, maybe just say 12 to 16 hours and continue upwards. That would ultimately be the best case scenario here for us for Sandbox. The simple moving averages are both below. That was essentially a golden cross, so to speak, and that's pushing the price action higher. Now, once again, the smaller time frames, less importance for these type of patterns, right? Well, we prefer to see them on the 1-day chart, but no matter how you look at it, being above both moving averages on the 4-hour is extremely important and helpful. I also love the fact we came down to bounce off of 50 on the RSI and did not pass 70 yet. That's great. That gives us more room for growth, so we could literally see another leg up without possibility of a significant retracement, right? Now, again, it's not to say it won't happen. I'd prefer the price to kind of stay stagnant for the moment for another 24 hours, or to say at least 12 hours until the market opens tomorrow and then leg up again. But I'll take what we can get, and this is a very good sign here, right? But again, this pattern is much better than most of the other patterns that you'll see out there right now. I like that it recovered well, and I think that we got to celebrate that. And it's not overextended because of it, which is very cool. So on the one hour chart here, take a look at the Ishimoku cloud. We do have technically a signal here telling us that we could literally buy in right now and be fairly safe. It's not the cleanest, of course, because the lagging span just cleared the price action, and if the price doesn't increase in the near future within the next 12 hours, we'd be getting a sell signal. But generally speaking, Sandbox is kind of telling us it wants to continue. Once again, on the 1-day chart, we've got 4 more days worth of continuation as a potential, right? I didn't actually look at that on the 4-hour really quick. Let's go ahead and just quickly identify. We're at a 2, of course. We got that reset, so we got plenty of room for growth there. And then, of course, we're at a 7 here. This is synonymous as well with mana, based on the simple fact that it's basically telling us that we had 7 hours of continuation to the upside, and that at this point, we could see only 2 to possibly 6 hours worth of continuation before we see might expect a retracement. And what I mean by that is anytime you see the price kind of come up to a 9, it commonly comes back down. So if you see this 9 here, turned around, came up to an 8, turned around, came down to a 7, right? So none of the numbers really matter unless you see an 8 or a 9. And when you see that, the likelihood of it shifting gears and turning around is fairly high. Again, unless Bitcoin jumps up to 46,000 or something kind of crazy, right? Then we'll experience a difference in that pattern. But here we're at a 7 presently. Bitcoin's calming down for the day and kind of chilling out at 44,000. And with us being at 7 here on TD sequential, we could see another couple of hours of bullish continuation. But again, in a perfect world, we see the price kind of just hang out right here for a nice little reset or two, and then leg up again to try to push upwards of the next major Fibonacci retracement level of $5.21, which was a previous resistance. So mind you, this was a previous resistance here. So on January 12th, the price could not go higher than that 2 days in a row, right? And that's where we drew the Fibonacci retracement lines, and that essentially kind of pulled it up there. So for lack of better terms, 520 would be a better case scenario here in the next 24 hours for Sandbox. But best case scenario, ultimately, big picture, we're looking at closer to $8 as a better case scenario if we get the same exact type of momentum. And let me explain what I mean by that here so you don't leave with the wrong impression. So I'm not telling you that Sandbox going to $8 right now. In fact, it's only $7.90 would be the total. And what that just means is that if we look at these numbers here from the lowest point on January 22nd till now, that's approximately 2 weeks worth of trading data. Okay, so in the last 2 weeks, Sandbox has increased by 92%. That's all well and good, but to get us up that same distance, that same growth, it'd be 48% more higher than where we're at. That'd put us in the range of 680 to 790. Okay, so it is possible, but keep in mind we have some key level resistances here, right? So we got this guy right there, which is roughly 673, and of course the most immediate resistance at 521. And if we look at the volume profile as well, we can see that, yes, there's a lot more volume at the base here, but if we look at just ever since the price has been retracing down from its highest point to lowest, we've got the most amount of volume accumulation at 521. In fact, right in the range that Sandbox is entering, we have the most amount of volume, which basically tells us we have a potential resistance, a sell wall at that point. So take that into consideration when if you're taking a long position right now. I wouldn't say it's super risky, but Sandbox is slightly overextended. And even though it has some good fundamentals and the midterm looks nice, we could see a transition to 4 more days worth of bullish momentum. Unless we can get past 521 in the next 4 trading days, we're going to see some resistance and probably some sideways action right in between 465 and 521. So again, just something to think about. Big picture stuff to be aware of. Again, 2 weeks, we could potentially see $6, $7. Yes, that's a possibility. Is it a likelihood? Probably not. Within a month or two, I would say that's a different story, right? Pending we get no more nonsense in the world and inflation doesn't destroy Bitcoin, just hit the big old reset button, I think Sandbox will be doing just fine. Yeah, so anyways, we're looking okay there. Hopefully you found benefit, you understand half the stuff I'm saying here. Go back and watch it again if you'd like, and if literally you want to become a better trader, feel free to join my trading community. I teach all this stuff in my trading academy. I have a private chat. We have roundtable discussions, and more importantly, though, I send out signals so you know how to structure your trades. Because Sandbox is one of those trades that we take frequently. Honestly, lately, a little less, just based on the fact that we're waiting for Bitcoin to pull its head out of its ass, and I think we're almost there. So now that we got to close over 44,000, I think it's almost greener pastures here. We do technically want to see 46 to 48,000 or higher from Bitcoin soon in order to get that full-on confirmation that we're back in Bulltown, right? So again, we'll get there almost. I think we're almost there. Looking forward to that. Very excited for it. Thanks again for joining me here. Hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next one.